So Steph Curry calls himself the greatest point guard ever. I knew eventually this was gonna happen. Do I like it? No. Do I agree? No. Even though Steph is my favorite player in the NBA, I don't think I can call him the greatest point guard ever. Gotta say, if I say I hated it when LeBron did it, I gotta say I hated it when Steph did it. Or does it? But that being said, I find the excuses people use kind of stupid. You'll have some old heads that'll come out and say, well, Magic is a pure point. Steph ain't no pure point. Is Magic really a pure point? He plays the pure point style, but hold on. People will say Steph's not a true point because he's a score first guard, and that's not the way you play point guard. True indeed. Pure point guards, when I think of the word true point guard, is John Stockton, Chris Paul, Jason Kidd, Rajon Rondo, uh, Bob Cousy, players like that. That Andre Miller, players like that. But all those players have something in common. They're all like around 6 feet, 6 feet one. Magic is a 6'9", the only 6'9" point guard, like in the NBA history with that much. One of the reasons why he had that much success is because he was 6'9". There's been no other point guards that's been 6'9". Like you can't say Magic is a true point and he's 6'9", and you can't knock Steph for saying, oh, he's just a scoring guard. There's really been more scoring guards than true point guards in NBA history when you think about it. Because most guards, even after like 1980, are really like scoring guards. You have like a handful of guards like Steve Nash and like those type of guards that came in and played true point. For the most part, after that Michael Jordan, Allen Iverson era, there's been like it ushered in a whole era like scoring point guards like Steve Francis, like Stephon Marbury, Allen Iverson, so on and so forth. After that, it bred a whole bunch of players like John Morant, Steph Curry, um, Trey Young, all those type of players. Trey Young's passing is better than his scoring. I wish he would pass more. To try to like throw Steph Curry out of the point guard conversation just because he's a scoring first guard, it's kind of like you could find better ways to say Steph's not really better than Magic. In my opinion, Steph has to win more. Point blank, period. In order to call himself the greatest point guard ever, I, the passing stats, yeah, he doesn't really pass the ball, but you got to look at the offense that he's in too. He doesn't really bring the ball up. People point that out because Draymond's really the true point guard. But if that's the case, could you really call Tony Parker the true point guard or like Derek Fisher the true point guard because they played in the system where they're not true point guards? Like Craig Hodges and the triangle. Same thing with like Derek Fisher. Like they don't play true point guard when it's the system that they're in. So when Mark Jackson was a head coach, Steph played like traditional point. Like Mark Jackson wanted him to play like Mark Jackson played when he was with the Knicks and with the Pacers. He wanted him to bring the ball up, control the game from the point guard position, pass more. You can get your shot when you want to get your shot, get rolling that way. But I want you to dish out the assist and get your teammates set up. But when Mark Jackson got fired, Kerr came in. Kerr leaned more into Steph's shooting abilities and the scoring abilities are like how he was at Davidson. And at Davidson, he was more of a scoring guard, played off the ball. Sometimes he would play the true point, the traditional point, and set up people. But for the most part, he played off ball. He scored more and did it that way. I mean, that's what coaches do. You build a system around a player, or you build a system to fit your players' skill sets, and instead of trying to make people fit into your system. In my opinion, Steph is the second best point guard. Then like Isaiah, Oscar Robertson, like so on and so forth. I really have to think about it to get the real order down pat. But in order for Steph to pass Magic, in my opinion, it would take like probably a finals and a finals MVP. I could care less about the conference finals MVP because it's, in my opinion, it's not a real award. It's just something they just made up. But then it's like a neck to neck conversation because you have the same amount of titles, not the same amount of MVPs, but or finals MVPs, but you have the same amount of titles. In my opinion, Magic got off to a better start because the team he had around him. People will want to use the KD argument like, well, he had KD. I mean, yeah, and Magic came in with Kareem as his team captain. I mean, he eventually superseded Kareem, but you had Kareem, James Worthy, Brian Byron Scott. You had a stacked team when you came in. Granted, he faced other stacked teams like the Sixers and the Celtics, but his team had like four number one picks on it. But all in all, I really didn't like it. He tried his best to still sound humble when he said it. He said like is the conversation like me and Magic, right? That's what people say. He was like, well, yeah, I would have to say me. Then he went along further in the conversation. I mean, he said, I mean, if you ask me, I'm going to pick myself. I'm not going to pick Magic over myself. I got to choose between either one of us. He was like, but Magic has a hell of a resume, which Magic has one of the best resumes. He's a top, in my opinion, he's a top four NBA player all time. But that says it within itself. Steph is a top 10 player. Magic is like a top four, top five player. That's where the conversation ends. That's where the conversation should have ended. And you had dummies like Stephen A., who claims he has so much basketball knowledge, got on TV, and had really started the whole fire. It was Gilbert Arenas who started the fire, but Stephen A. doused it with a full gallon of gasoline and just doused the whole fire. That's what set it ablaze. But that's where the conversation should have ended. Magic is a top four player, and Steph is a debatable top 10 player. That's pretty much where the conversation ends.